Good evening and a warm welcome. You're watching the Big India Today Editors Roundtable. I'm Rahul Kamal. We're hours away from the second and final phase of polling in Gujarat. An election that's been highly divisive and an election that can decide the course that Indian politics takes from here in the build-up to the 2019 general elections. Let me introduce you to the fine political minds joining us on this India Today Roundtable, starting with my colleague and India Today's consulting editor, Rajdeep Sardesai, our director for publishing at India Today magazine, Raj Chingappa, Yashwant Deshmukh, flying in from Dubai, and now with us in the India Today Mediaplex, representing the BJP, psephologist GVL Narasimha Rao, representing the Congress, Tom Vadakan, with us from CSDS, Professor Sanjay Kumar, and our national affairs editor, Rahul Srivastava. Welcome to all our guests. I want to start by asking all the experts who've gathered over here. We've seen, I'll start with you, Rajdeep, all the build-up, the rhetoric. Putting all of this on the side, what do you think is likely to happen when voters go out tomorrow to cast their vote? What should viewers be looking out for?
They should wait for our exit poll, which is the safest way to look at it, which will come sometime post 5 p.m. Look, this is an election which has been fought in, I think, in a manner that was almost unprecedented for Gujarat. This is a two-party state where usually one party has been well ahead of the other, both in percentage terms and in seats for the longest time. In that sense, this is an unusual election because I think for the first time there's a sense that it's a genuine fight, certainly after almost 3 decades. And I think to that extent, I'm a little hesitant to sort of stick my neck out and say what should viewers be looking for. But I think the one thing that they should look out for is turnout. I think turnout in this election is important. There was a 4% dip, if I'm not mistaken, in the first phase itself in several parts of Saurashtra in particular. How is that going to reflect on elections? I don't know. But I think turnout, particularly in Ahmedabad. Ahmedabad has 21 seats, Ahmedabad district, of the 93 that go to the polls tomorrow. And I believe if the Congress has to have any chance, they must make some dent in the BJP's dominance of the cities. 12 in Baroda, 21 in Ahmedabad. The BJP won all 12 in Baroda, won I think 17 or 18 out of 21 in Ahmedabad. That kind of dominance gives the BJP an edge, and that is really where I think the Congress will have to make some impact tomorrow in those parts, and of course in the rural parts of North Gujarat where traditionally the Congress has been stronger, but it's the urban belt. The Congress cannot win this election only banking on rural Gujarat. They have to make some dent in that large number of, I think 62 constituencies with more than 50% population. The BJP has won something like 50 plus. I mean, breaking that stranglehold is going to be critical to the Congress. Otherwise, it's advantage BJP. Okay, Raj Chingappa, you've just come back from Gujarat. What were you picking up on the ground? What are the things you'll be looking out for in the second phase?
You know, we went together, as a matter of fact. And if you looked at it, certainly the Congress had gained a lot of traction. And the meetings that we had attended of Rahul Gandhi, you could see a certain spontaneity. We did see Mr. Modi in action, and he's always a tremendous person to watch. His ability to connect with the electorate, his anecdotal style of oratory. He was still the tallest leader that you could find in Gujarat. Whether, as Rajdeep was pointing out, if the polling is a bit low tomorrow, does it mean that the BJP would kind of lose in this, in the sense that people don't really want to come out to vote because they would have to vote negative? And they think that they're not happy with what the BJP's performance is. That one reading? I think psephologists will be in a better position to answer that.
Okay, let's bring in the psephologists then, one by one, because remember, we're not allowed as per EC guidelines to tell you what the opinion polls are and the post-poll surveys are indicating so far. But that doesn't stop me from asking Yashwant Deshmukh, what would he be looking out for when the second polling, when the second phase starts tomorrow?
Certainly the turnout, as Raj said, that, Rahul, I have figured out that many a times I've seen that when the turnout is low, is the party which has a very strong network cadre, that party stands to gain by default. And particularly if you are looking out for a very strong anti-incumbent verdict, you are supposed to have a very strong turnout as well, which could, you know,
but that's not
go in that
always
direction.
the case.
It's not always the case. But I'm broadly saying that, particularly in the case of Gujarat, if the turnout goes down, it would be more like, you know, people who are angry, they are preferring to sit out rather than going out and voting against the BJP. I may be totally wrong, because we have seen many other exceptions which have been completely on the other side as well. But by and large, yes, tomorrow a low turnout might not necessarily mean a loss for BJP.
Professor Sanjay Kumar, the north of
very
Gujarat.
quickly, you know, in that first round, while the turnout was lower, in the Patel areas, in Saurashtra in particular, turnout was good. And that is what has worried the BJP in places like Morbi, for example.
Yeah.
Morbi is one of the places which is one of those bellwether areas where the Congress is hoping to make gains. So Saurashtra, there are some signs that the Patel areas had decent voter turnout.
Professor Sanjay Kumar, phase one.
Let me clarify on this. Let me add a dimension to this. In places like Morbi, you have all candidates from the same community. So, and parties have therefore, everyone must have tried their best to mobilize the voters. But it doesn't mean votes have gone in one party's favor or other. It only means there was competitive, there was better mobilization by all candidates.
Professor Sanjay Kumar, the north of Gujarat is also the hotbed of the Patidar and the Thakur agitations. How much of anger do you sense on the ground, and how much could that impact the BJP's fortunes tomorrow?
No, if we look at what was happening in Gujarat for the last 1 year or last 3 months especially, we could clearly see that there was an anger among the two communities which you mentioned, the Patidar and the OBCs. But this low turnout, I think, is should be a cause of worry for the Congress. It seems that this anger did not turn into their voting against the government, which they have been voting for the last several years. So that's my anxiety or my sense of how, reading this low turnout. While you have already mentioned that we should not, there is no direct correlation between a high turnout and the electoral outcome, as well as the reverse, low turnout and electoral outcome. But my own sense is that this low turnout in the first phase has actually benefited BJP. People who have been angry with BJP didn't come out to vote against the party. They preferred not to come out to vote.
So which is actually advantage BJP instead of it getting converted into an anti-BJP vote.
Whenever we talk about the word that, you know, in the physiological terms, the most used word is swing. Swing is basically from one section to the other. The angry voter has to come out and swing from one party to the other. When the angry voter is sitting home, the only likely output is that, okay, the leading party might be winning with lesser margin.
And there, remember, in a lot of seats of Gujarat, the BJP won with a very big margin in the last election. So even if that margin gets chipped, they still have some headroom. I want to introduce now a special guest, Yogendra Yadav, joining us on this broadcast. Now, of course, a politician in his own right, but he's listening to people he's spent hours working on opinion polls with. Yogendra Yadav, what's the sense that you're picking up? What would you be looking out for when Gujarat polls tomorrow morning?
For me, this is not one election. There are 3 elections happening in Gujarat simultaneously. There are urban areas, cities proper, Ahmedabad, Vadodara, etc., which have been very stronghold of BJP, and I do not see any substantial dent there, because Congress would need to, make deep inroads in order to wrest a few seats back from BJP. I don't see much of that happening. On the other hand, are rural areas, almost 100 seats there, 98 or so, where Congress has actually led even in 2012, where every 0.5% would give Congress a few seats. Even 2% will give Congress 20 additional seats. That is where Congress is making major gains. We know it for sure. The third is the critical. These are the Mufassil constituencies, not quite city, semi-rural, semi-urban. That's about 45 seats in Gujarat. That's where BJP led last time. But there its pocket is not very deep. Only a small change and BJP would begin to lose seats. To my mind, that is where it is getting decided. My own sense remains that all of us are sitting on evidence of anti-BJP wave, but for various reasons, some of which are very legitimate reasons, we don't want to aggregate that evidence. We are unable to put that together and say we are looking at an anti-BJP wave-like situation, but that's actually what it is like. And remember, all the waves are discovered only in retrospect. In retrospect, all of us get together and say, oh my God, of course I knew
googly in this editors roundtable, saying all the dots on the table suggest it's an anti-BJP wave, but nobody wants to go out and call that. GVL is itching to come in and have a go.
I think Yogendra saw that in 2007 as well. And if I remember correctly, the CSDS projected that BJP was losing in 2007.
No, 2007. Please, I anchored that poll. You must not make that mistake.
No, 2007.
No, it never.
Don't pass on false information.
If not your polls, some polls.
Some polls. Don't say CSDS.
I'll show that to you in a
I will bring
when you have the
CSDS
break.
poll.
No, when you have a break, I'll tell you 2007, the most dominant polls had predicted BJP defeat. It was an exit poll.
Now you have moved from CSDS to more.
No, I'll show that to you. You are questioning it, I'll show that to you.
Rajdeep, I have a point here, of which I want to say, Raj, you and the men who play with the figures. You see, last elections, the Patidars were with the BJP and there was polarization. So there were two different, that election was different. Now this election in Ahmedabad, where you're saying the BJP out of the 16 odd had 14 seats, you have Ghatlodiya, Nicole, Maninagar, Sabarmati, Thakarbapa, Nagar, where you have nearly 35 to 52,000 Patidars. You're not sure of them, which way they are going to go. Then you have Ghatlodiya, Jamalpur, Khadia, Daryapur, Danyamada and Vejalpur, where you have out of a vote, nearly 2 lakh voters, you have 1 lakh or 85,000 Muslims.
Right.
Now, how do you suddenly say that you can say that low voting can actually mean BJP wins or high voting means BJP wins? Because with such strong percentage of voters who could vote, can vote against the BJP or have not been with the BJP, how can you suddenly say
Okay, I want to build on that thought. Okay, I want to build on that thought that Yogendra Yadav put out, saying that there is enough evidence to suggest that the BJP is facing a tough time, but because of how formidable the BJP's track record is, therefore psephologists are hedging their bet and making it seem as if the BJP is still in pole position. We've got two psephologists. I'll start with Sanjay Kumar, responding to his former colleague Yogendra Yadav. Sanjay.
I don't know which data Yogendra Yadav is citing, that the psephologists or the pollsters are sitting with such kind of a data. At least I can tell you the data which we have put out in the public, three rounds of data, the 3 rounds of survey which we conducted. Actually, I don't get a sense of there is a huge anti-incumbency mood in the state or a huge wave against BJP. Yes, the 3 rounds of poll do suggest that the gap between BJP and Congress narrowed down over the last 2 months.
Professor Yadav, you want to respond to that there is no empirical evidence. It could be wishful thinking. It could be what Yogendra Yadav in his political avatar would like should happen, but that's not necessarily what the data suggests.
Such a pleasure to disagree with colleagues, with Rajdeep, with Sanjay ji. Actually, I have no disagreement because Sanjay ji's poll simply says this is what the situation was like on the 29th of November. And I'm saying this is what it is likely to be on the 14th of December. Both of these could be right. Their data stops at 29th November and I'm projecting it. I'm projecting in ways that their data does not allow them to. Similarly, Times Now survey, the data suggests 10 percentage point drop in within 1 month for BJP. I'm simply saying, all right, if you have lost 10% in 1 month, in the next 15 days, you're likely to lose a little more. So I'm projecting.
But I can counter-argue. No, I can counter-argue.
This country could have framed this session without accusing people of anything.
You know, my point with Yogendra Yadav, and there I thought, and I discussed this with CSDS, that based on the percentage they give, Congress should be winning. Because the Congress's ability traditionally in Gujarat, because their vote, the BJP wins with higher margins. So if the vote percentage comes down to a gap of 2%, normally, traditionally, projection-wise, the party like a Congress whose vote is more evenly spread out should perhaps get the benefit of that. However, this is an unusual election, I believe. And you will find in these 4 regions of Gujarat, this is my sense, possibly this time, very, very different results coming in the different regions. There is the anger, anti-incumbency is not spread across Gujarat. It is particularly in rural Saurashtra. As you come into urban Saurashtra, it gets less. If you travel from Ahmedabad to Viramgam to Gondal, which is towards Saurashtra, you will see in Ahmedabad euphoria over Modi, Viramgam disillusionment, in Gondal anger. How do you then, it is very difficult then in an election like that.
I got my...
No, my issue
I need to... I've got what I said. Let me read. Let me read what is there. I want this to go on air. Otherwise, it will be unfair to me. Okay. No, just let me read it.
Okay.
And I think news media doesn't lie, no. This is the former channel with which you were associated.
Yes.
This was exit poll show. Gujarat, this was after the first phase, which is completely wrong. Exit polls show Gujarat swinging away from BJP. Okay, this is from News
so
18 website. Can I complete? No,
okay.
and it says
I'm going to give you the final
no. Fine. Okay, no. This is after phase 1. We are today sitting after phase 1. This says BJP squarely losing Saurashtra. You gave a big mandate to the Congress in Saurashtra,
that's right.
And that was completely wrong.
That's right, but our final numbers were right.
No, but you must have changed. I still remember
How
this.
Don't change, yeah.
No, this is exit polls swinging
Okay,
away.
I don't want to spend time discussing what happened.
This number, this is exactly what Yogendra said after first phase in 2007. If he wants, I'll repeat it.
But this is also what Amit Shah says even now, Yashwant Deshmukh, कि चुनाव के टाइम पे बड़ा close लगता है, result आता है, कहते हैं हमेशा
that's
BJP
one thing.
जीती।
That's a very interesting point which you just mentioned, that things are at least in the last couple of years, they seem close, but they are never close. This way or that way, people are giving a very clear mandate. Of course, the polls on that particular day, like Yogenji said, Sanjay's poll on that day, what was that? He was telling. I want to bring out another point. My problem with the entire discussion this season of Gujarat is somehow. I will just try to rewind you, all of you, to 5 years back. I remember 5 years back in every TV studio of New Delhi, everybody sitting in the studio was a PhD on Leva Patel. Because at that point of time, Keshubhai Patel was fighting and every person was talking, Leva Patel, Leva Patel, Leva Patel, Leva Patel, Leva Patel. And as if Keshubhai Patel's party would be the one single thing which will be standing between Mr. Modi and the re-election. All right. Now this season, we are talking Patidar. Not a single time I have seen a discussion. Well, you know what? Patidars are 50% Leva, 50% Karwa, and this is what happened last time. This is what is now. Everything is as a clubbed as one, as if all the Patidars in Gujarat are going in one direction.
Okay.
While there is a concrete evidence, which in the last editor's table also I pointed out, that you must ask everybody who is visiting the ground that Mr. Keshubhai Patel's party last time polled 4% votes in the entire Gujarat and almost 10% votes in Saurashtra.
Challenge.
Where are these voters going?
Correct. They could be going back to the BJP. Your suggestion. So, Tom Vadakan, the challenge for the Congress's perspective really is that while there's a lot of anti-incumbency in Kutch and Saurashtra, also in pockets of North Gujarat, it is not uniform across the state of Gujarat. South, Central Gujarat don't feel anti-incumbency in the same way. Could this be your problem? Because remember, and I want to draw a parallel with what happened in Punjab, there was anti-incumbency all across, but the AAP was able to do well only in the Malwa belt of Punjab. They weren't able to do well in Doaba and Majha, and that's how your party at that time won. Could this be the opposite of what happened in Punjab?
No, I think it's going to go the Punjab way, because the fault lines are very visible. You see, the anger is not about Patedar or others. The anger that is there is basic. Employment, healthcare, these are all based on promises, on jumlas that have been standing. By landing on a seaplane, breaking all rules of airline tradition, doesn't land a man to lead his party. You had that bullet train experience. No MOU was signed on that. Bullet train arriving. Now the seaplane arrives. Drama, theatre, fine. But the point is, the Gujaratis cut across caste lines asking you simple questions. When are we getting admissions in colleges? Who's going to pay the fees? Who's going to look after the hospitals? Who's giving us employment? These are the basic questions, and this is the anger you find across. Now you have divided the house. Patel, this is not about Patel, this is about the Gujarati whose business has been ruined. GST, then you have how many surgical operations have you operated upon the business?
Yogendra
These are questions.
I want to draw your attention to something Sanjay Kumar said earlier. He said that Gujarat mein BJP ko harana mushkil hi nahi, namumkin bhi hai. Sanjay Kumar doing this dawn dialogue. Do you think that is true? There may be a lot of anti-incumbency, but the fact is that the margin between the BJP and Congress on several seats is so much that even if the BJP vote share gets chipped away, the gap is so much that it's still enough for the BJP to say, look, how do you respond to Sanjay Kumar saying that the BJP is the dawn of Gujarat, beating them is almost impossible?
I actually believed it in about 3 months ago, and therefore I had actually very little interest in Gujarat election. I thought this is like left front in West Bengal. If they win, that's no news. If they lose, that's an earthquake. But the earthquake doesn't happen every day. But actually, Sanjay Kumarji's survey convinced me otherwise. They thought it was 30% gap in August. In October, they thought it was only 6%. In November, they thought the gap is 0%. Now, that's very serious. So someone like me sits up. Then I look up all other surveys. They are indicating exactly the same direction. The levels are slightly different. And therefore, it is actually very, very interesting now.
Sanjay Kumar, it was your poll that sowed the seeds of doubt. Now, you seem to have done a U-turn and come back to your original position to start with.
The only thing that I want to add, Rahul, the only thing I wish to add to what you are saying is this, that this big margin constituencies that you are talking about, Rahul, they are all concentrated in urban areas where BJP is not losing even today. But look at rural constituencies. They lose a huge number of constituencies if they lose only 1% vote. That's what we should be focused on.
Just a quick point.
But Yogendra, BJP, for the record, never won in those rural constituencies to start with. I'm just as a matter of fact, even in the last election, Congress won majority of the seats in the North Gujarat.
Never.
Not BJP did not majority.
It was just marginal.
The gap is small. The gap between the BJP, what was clear? See what happened last time. Last time, BJP dominated urban Gujarat. Congress was ahead in percentage terms by 0.2% in rural Gujarat. It translated, depending on how you look at urban Gujarat, about 48 seats to Congress, 45 seats to the BJP.
Exactly, that was the figure.
That was the position. So it's a 3-seat difference. Now, the Congress, therefore, to win, has to do the following. They have to start getting from 48, at least in my view, another 20-25 seats in rural Gujarat and get 15 more seats in urban Gujarat. 93. Remember also, Rahul, 58 seats the BJP has never lost since 1995. Most of them with percentages varying from 8 to 10%. You need a huge swing. So the BJP is already starting in Gujarat with actually needing usually around 65 more seats. If I get those 65 seats, I'm through. So unless there's a wave, Yogendra ji is saying there's a wave. If there's a wave, that's the way the namumkin part.
That needs a huge swing. You just said it right. Yeah. And the swing happens when people leave one party, Raj, and go to other parties. Swing doesn't happen when angry people sit at home.
No, I just want to make a point, and I think Tom, just one minute. I'm picking up from where Tom said about the fight also being about Gujarat and Gujaratis, not necessarily split up in these various matters. And I think it would be too complacent on the BJP to think that goodwill of 25 years would see them through, and people are not looking at issues and saying, I'd like to see what really development has really taken place also. So therefore, when you look at the arguments, and we saw some of the rallies, the BJP and Prime Minister Modi seem to concentrate on the past and said, we've done a great job, trust us, we'll keep doing it. Whereas I saw Rahul Gandhi and the Congress actually start landing punches on whatever the BJP said was there.
So what I'll do is I'll take a quick break.
Allow me a half a minute.
Break.
It's a sense of deja vu for me.
Again you're going back.
What you're saying today is what you said 10 years ago. What you said
Okay, we will discuss this in the break. What I'll do is I'll take a quick break. We'll resolve this issue between Rajdeep and GVL. When we come back, we will ask whether Prime Minister Narendra Modi's campaign made a difference. Will that pull extra votes for the BJP? And I will also ask about Rahul Gandhi's interviews and whether he's kind of trying to find a grey area in the EC's guidelines, giving these interviews a day before polls. That and more when we come back with part 2 of the India Today Editors Roundtable on the other side of what is going to be a very quick break. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching the Big India Today Editors Roundtable. Phase 2 polling just hours away. What are the key things to look out for? What can happen through the day in the 93 seats there where polling will be held tomorrow? I want to get in now a word from the ground. We've got 3 very astute political minds joining us from Gujarat. I want to begin by introducing Uday Mahurkar from India Today magazine. Also with us is Jumana Shah. She's the India Today television correspondent there, and Gopi Manyar is our bureau chief in Gujarat. I want to go across to Uday Mahurkar first. Uday, what would you be looking out for? Who do you think has the edge as the second phase of polling is set to start?
It's very difficult to say, but the first round was very close. But if you go down and look at how things happen on the ground, you'll find that in many Patel constituencies in Saurashtra, Patels, the voting percentage went down, and the impression which went was that Patels were decided not to vote, then vote for the Congress. But except Morbi and Tankara, these two seats, Patels have voted with, I think, vengeance against the BJP. So first phase was supposed to be more difficult for the BJP than the second one. So second phase has become very important for the Congress also. That's my take.
Okay, Gopi Manyar, the inputs you're picking up by speaking to different people all across central and north Gujarat, what are the kind of things you'll be looking out for in the second phase?
जी राहुल, मैं आपको बता दूं कि सौराष्ट्र में जो हमारी बात हुई वो बात ये हुई हो रही है कि कांग्रेस को कहीं ना कहीं फायदा हो रहा है, क्योंकि जो 89 सीट थी जहां पे कांग्रेस बहुत कम सीटों पर थी, वहां पे अब कांग्रेस को काफी सारी सीट अराउंड, जो यहां पे लोग बता रहे हैं वो यही बता रहे हैं कि कांग्रेस को हाफ ऑफ द सीट मिलती हुई दिख रही है। तो वही अगर नॉर्थ गुजरात की बात करें जहां पे वोटिंग होनी है, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाएगा, क्योंकि अर्बन सीट्स बहुत ज्यादा है इस पूरे फेज में, और वही जो बीजेपी के लिए स्ट्रॉन्ग बेल्ट माना जाता है। अगर अर्बन सीट की बात करें तो 63 जो सेंट्रल और यहाँ की जो अर्बन सेंट्रल और नॉर्थ गुजरात की जो अर्बन सीट्स है वहां पे 63 में से कांग्रेस के पास सिर्फ 3 सीट है, जबकि 60 सीट ऐसी है जो बीजेपी के खेमे में। अगर कल जिस तरीके से वोटिंग पैटर्न देखने मिलती है बहुत दिलचस्प होगा, खास करके अल्पेश ठाकुर जो कि राधनपुर से इलेक्शन लड़ रहे, जिग्नेश मेवानी जो कि बडगाम से इलेक्शन लड़ रहे, ये दलित लीडर है, ओबीसी लीडर है, उनके लिए कितना, और खास करके महसाना जो कि पाटीदारों का गढ़ माना जाता है, वहां पे हार्दिक पटेल का जो असर है वो कितना देखने मिलता है। बेहद दिलचस्प है कल का जो वोटिंग है, और किस तरीके की वोटिंग पैटर्न देखने मिलती है वो भी दिलचस्प होगी।
It's interesting what Gopi says, that you've got a lot of urban seats in phase 2 where the BJP's gap with the Congress is huge. You've also got voter disaffection in rural Gujarat. But the fact, Jumana, remains that till the time the Congress can start chipping away at the BJP's seat share in urban Gujarat, the challenge when it comes to crossing that figure of 92 seems very, very difficult to achieve. Jumana, what's your reading?
Yes, I totally agree. I think urban seats is really going to be the clincher, because in terms of numbers also they are fairly significant, but it's not just about the numbers, it's also about the perception that if Congress is accepted in urban areas, that is when it really goes to show that the development and the model that has really failed. If it is in urban areas also that people vote against the BJP, then it shows that there is an acceptance that yes, there is something not right with Narendra Modi's development model. That is one thing. The second, of course, is that this time the Congress's face has been Rahul Gandhi. So, if local Congress leaders are not very acceptable in urban areas, that has been Congress's biggest downfall and its bane all these years. But if Rahul Gandhi can make it work, I mean, he is fairly an urban face. In fact, he has an acceptance overall. So the question really is that the Gujarat voter has to accept Rahul Gandhi overall. And if it does, then it is in urban areas as well, because that is where the Congress's real challenges.
Rahul Gandhi has been on the message, trying to bring attention to the issues of development of Gujarat, while the BJP has been talking about Mani Shankar Iyer, about Neech and Oonch, and about caste, and about Pakistan and ISI. Is this working? He comes across as sincere. We were at a Rahul Gandhi rally, people were responding, but the gap between him and Modi still remains huge.
Plus the fact, and this is in a sense the elephant in the room, the fact is these regions which are going to the polls were also the ones that were scarred by the riots. And if you will see Narendra Modi's style in Gujarat, 2002, 7, 12 and now 17, this is the region where he goes and speaks of James Michael Lyngdoh in 2007 in a manner that was crass, in 2007 about Mia Musharraf, in 2012 about Mia Ahmed Patel, and then goes to Banaskantha, the border district, to make the points which I found were absurd about Manmohan Singh and this dinner. It was a deliberate strategy. It may work. It's worked in the past, because the aim is to create a Hindu-Muslim divide. Let's accept that. Let's forget Patels and all. This is the region where you play the politics of communal polarization. In my view, it's going to work. And which is why I believe it's advantage BJP. They've done it in the past and they've found it succeeds. There is nothing What has changed in the last 10 days? The constant attempt to communalize. You brought in Ram Mandir, Mughal dynasty, and then you went to the extent of claiming a private dinner as a conspiracy. What can be greater example of the BJP? I don't call it desperation. I call it a successful formula. It is a formula you have used to divide people, and the Prime Minister no less did it.
Passion on your part.
This is the truth.
I see passion on your part.
I will say James Michael. Did you not say Mia Musharraf? Did you not say Mia Ahmed Patel? Did you not say Pakistan?
Channel, you completed. Give me time. Please have your statement, then I'll come in.
Sir, challenge me on facts.
Yeah, I will challenge you on facts. For me, for what is national security for me is communal politics for you. What is Pakistan for me? A foreign country which is exporting terror. For you, Pakistan is you see it only through the eyes of a community. And then, come on, I did not interrupt you.
Why did you put that?
I did not interrupt you. Please have the courtesy of hearing me. Okay, when Dr. Manmohan Singh has a dinner, an undisclosed dinner with an emissary of Musharraf, who is a supporter of Hafiz Saeed. Rahul Gandhi mocks it on Twitter and then tells Manmohan Singh to go and have a tete-a-tete with Musharraf's aide. Khurshid is nothing but a Musharraf's lackey. And
Musharraf is no one in Pakistan's politics.
What are you saying? He's backing... No, don't think like that. I think the whole thing, Pakistani army, Musharraf,
why was it brought in the election campaign? My simple question, why was it brought in the... Because these are the 93 constituencies. These are the 93 constituencies where you want to divide.
Carry on with your campaign.
No, I'm not campaigning.
Carry on. This is your campaign. You're not letting me speak. For me,
Prime Minister said it's not me.
Security. Why should it not be raised? Why should national security? Why should
What direction did it have with Gujarat this time? What dinner Mani Shankar is having? You decided this was the phase. You've done it 4 times.
Pakistani apologist or not?
No, but
GVL, a Pakistani apologist or not for you? For me, he's a Pakistani apologist.
GVL.
He's someone who is a...
What does it have to do with Gujarat's vikas?
GVL.
What does it have to do with Gujarat's
vikas?
GVL, 1 second.
Concerning national security not be raised in state elections.
GVL.
Have you all gone mad? Why should security not be raised in state polls? Please give me an answer.
GVL.
I'll give you an answer.
GVL.
Try to listen.
How is... 1 second, GVL. One second.
I will hear what Mr. Raj Chengappa says.
Mr. Chengappa knows track to diplomacy better than any of us.
Let him talk about it. Should we raise issues of national security?
No, but GVL, 1 second. Let's look. GVL.
Was it national security or was it your typical attempt of a dog whistle against Muslims? That's the point I make. Because you know that these are the areas where you will benefit. These are the areas you benefited from.
Why was this meeting held on the 6th of December?
Why do you
think we tell him to attend?
That's why I believe you're winning the election.
Did we tell him to hold this meeting on the 6th of December on the eve of Gujarat polls?
GVL.
Did we tell him to do
Okay,
it?
GVL, listen.
He came for a wedding, for God's sake. He and Mani Shankar Iyer have gone to the same college together. I can't invite someone from where a former army chief comes. I'm not an apologist.
You are an apologist for the Congress party. You so be it. I have no problem with it.
I take strong objection. I take strong objection. I will not allow
you
please apologize. I did not.
You're
making a personal slur which I find unacceptable.
You can make.
I believe this country's national security
you have been doing it all your journalistic career.
Oh, I see.
You tell me.
Very good. That's a very sad comment that you're making. And it reflects again. You keep name calling everyone. For you, name calling is very easy. For you, name calling is the easiest thing. I asked you a simple question. Why does the Prime Minister go to Banaskantha with a large Muslim population? Because he knows that these are the areas where you can divide. He's done it for 15 years.
Did you ask Congress ever a question?
Hundreds of questions he has asked.
No.
Hundreds of questions.
I'm sorry, GVL.
I'm sorry, GVL.
Nothing to do with the Congress.
I'm sorry. That is your problem. At the end of the day, it becomes about let the people decide. You're winning. I'm saying you're winning. All I'm pointing out is the morality of it. The morality of an election like this.
I don't care about your verdict on that. I think you are really calling the Prime Minister names. You are calling us.
I didn't use a single word.
No, okay, you are calling him out for raising an issue in the state rally. We will raise
not
it.
Me. The entire media is today. The entire media, any self-respecting channel or newspaper is today. Go and read the Indian Express first edit of yesterday.
Elections in America.
Go and read the Indian Express first edit of yesterday.
make a difference.
Okay, everybody wants. Okay.
Why don't you ask Mr. Chengappa?
Okay,
whether this is
GVL.
acceptable to
Okay,
send a private
GVL.
dinner?
One second. Let's have a sensible discussion. The whole idea. One second.
No,
the whole
whole
idea. One second. All mics down, please. Time out. The whole idea of putting together these sharp political minds in the India Today Editors Roundtable is to have a structured, meaningful conversation. Let's just try and stick to the brief. Rahul Srivastava wants to come in and make a point.
You see, Rajdeep, what I would like to first say that this whole national security thing, the Pakistani ex-diplomats and others were here on a think tank invitation. The SPG, which guards ex-Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, had conveyed that these are the engagements of the Prime Minister in the evening. The establishment knew, but it was picked and used at a different time. But then, I think what Prime Minister Narendra Modi did instead was not, I think, polarization. He's done a very clever game. What he has done over the last few days is that he has tried to make it difficult for the people who are unhappy with the BJP because of the MLAs and others, that if you want to vote against BJP, you have to vote against me. And me, who the Congress is trying to defeat through various means. He has raised the bar or the level the Congress has to jump or the voter has to jump to go against the BJP.
That's the panel track. The panel track is Narendra Modi, son of the soil, Gujarati Asmita. No problem with that.
He has done that.
But along with that, please understand, this is the subtext from 2002 to 17. You play Gujarati Asmita, you play son of the soil. It's a winning card.
Because polarization is not working.
Along with that, polarization does take place. It has
not
worked.
working.
The numbers show it in Gujarat for the last 20 years.
Different thing altogether. I just want to draw all of you to ponder over these two things which I want to say. You see, the basic premise of all the Congress positivity or the upswing or whatever is that, okay, they won 61 odd seats last time and they need about 35 odd more, which they could probably, with this momentum of Patidar and everything, okay, if they add 35 more, they are in for a big change in Gujarat. Now, I have only one problem with this premise, that okay, we are doing this calculation keeping in mind that okay, Congress is going to re-win all those 61 and then add 35 more.
Yes.
And I've got not one but two red flags over here.
No, they lost 13 MLAs in the Ahmed Patel
two red
election.
flags. Number one red flag is that when you are talking about analyzing Patidar sentiments of reservation policy, we are not looking at the fact that every time there is an agitation on reservation movement, there is an equal and opposite counter reaction.
Correct.
So while Congress is looking into the gains made by the Patidars, they are forgetting to look into the losses they are likely to have by the counter current of anti-Patidar reservation thing among the OBCs, number one. Number two, which is even more important for tomorrow's thing, you see, Radhik, in our entire analytical thing, somehow I feel that the question of tribal vote is getting struck with the South Gujarat. I don't know why that kind of generalization is, because even bigger number of tribal vote is going to be voting in the second phase. It's not in South Gujarat. I'm sorry to say. People have central Gujarat, especially, particularly the belt, the Bhil, Bilal and Patial belt, which is bordering the Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh, big time, just adjoining Jhabua, the other side of the Jhabua-Ratlam belt. Now, this is one area which Congress has been taken for granted for really long. And the trend among the tribal voters, which we have been witnessing, not just in this state, but in other states also, I have the second red flag in that corridor. I would be looking for, just the way I would be keeping an eye on the Patidar votes, how they are damaging the BJP. I would be really looking for very keenly how the movement of the tribal votes in Gujarat
That's an important point you make, and I want to put that question to Yogendra Yadav. Just half a second. Yogendra Yadav, is this not something that helps the BJP? The fact that there is Patidar anger, but Patidar anger raises the spectre of a counter mobilization, especially amongst the OBCs. Because the Patidar is a clannish community, therefore their coming together against the BJP could rally other castes. And BJP has been making a lot of inroads into the tribal belts. This time, both Amit Shah and Narendra Modi hope that some of those tribal voters who've been traditional voters of the Congress could switch over to the BJP.
On the tribal voter, actually that's probably the only evidence we have of a counter movement from Congress to BJP. In a normal election, you see movements from both ends of both sides. This is the only limited evidence, and the CSDS poll in October showed a movement. By November, they showed that the movement had stopped, and actually it is now once again advantage Congress, largely because of that party which got formed in South Gujarat. But I agree There are significant tribal population in central and north Gujarat as well. On the Patidar, I think I take the deeper point that Yashwant makes very seriously. The deeper point is, this election is not about Patidars. We are wrongly focused like we were. Fortunately, I was not. Before Mr. Nasimha Rao gets excited, 2012, I had nothing to do with any polling, etc. But like everyone was excited about Leva Patel and this Patel in 2012, this time we are unduly excited about Patidars. To my mind, this election is about farmers. This is about rural distress, cutting across. And please, and that's why I said every one of us is sitting with evidence. And I didn't mean to say pollsters. Every journalist who's gone to Gujarat is sitting with an evidence that yes, there is farmers' anger. Yes, there is rural distress. Yes, people are unhappy. Please remember, BJP had about 45 seats in rural areas, and there the margin of BJP are razor thin. And please, and that's why, and I think there was a fair point made, BJP Congress needs about 35 seats. BJP has to lose about 35 seats, of which about 20 to 25 it would lose in rural areas only with a 2% swing. In the cities, BJP, it would be hard for BJP to lose more than 5 seats or at the most 10 or so, because they have huge margins there. I do not expect very major change to come from. And let me again repeat, these are the Mufassil towns, 45 or so seats, rural urban seats, where BJP had 38 out of those 45 seats last time. That is where it does not enjoy very big margins. So let us not speak of urban areas in general. Let's break it up, cities and Mufassil Gujarat. There BJP has thinner margins, and with about 4 to 5% swing, BJP can lose about 15 to 20 seats there. No. That is what I would want to focus on. That's where the big change would come. I would again humbly
final words from all our commentators. I want to start by asking Rachingappa, because the election commissions put a stop on Rahul Gandhi's interview. The BJP can say, the Congress can say, well, then Chief Minister Narendra Modi gave interviews during the 2014 election, and also the fact that there was the vision statement that the BJP came out with just a day ahead of the first phase. So if the charge is that you're appealing to the voters of Gujarat, then that charge can be leveled both ways.
Well, I'm not going to get into that, Rahul. I just want a sum up of, I haven't seen why the Election Commission decided the other way. But just getting into the issues matter, when I see votes swing so dramatically, particularly CSDS, moving 10-20% away, even more recent polls doing, there is a larger issue in operation, which is more than just trying to break it up into communal or caste packets. I think there is a general discontent that is there, which you're seeing across the belt. Now, that could then begin to turn the vote against the BJP. What goes in favor of the BJP is, of course, Mr. Modi. The fact that you have Mr. Amit Shah and the machinery and the men that he can command, the 3 M's that I call it, that could turn the election or save the election for the BJP. But clearly, there is you can see that there is a strong movement, and the BJP has a lot to worry about even in this phase.
Okay, final words, Sanjay Kumar.
No, my final words, I think BJP is still ahead, and when we actually see the counting on the December 18th, I think BJP has a edge.
BJP final words.
No, I think Yogendra Yadav qualified it at the end, and I think that's right. In rural Gujarat, there is a sense, if not a wave, an undercurrent. There is an undercurrent against whoever is in power, whether it's the local MLA. It's not against Mr. Modi. I think Mr. Modi remains a bulwark against the anti-incumbency in that sense because of the son of the soil. But in rural Gujarat, there is discontent, which in some areas will benefit the Congress. But I don't see it statewide. The demographics of Gujarat are still heavily weighed in favor of the BJP. Semi-urban, urban constituencies, I haven't seen that kind of... Look, Ahmedabad has about 5 or 6 Patel seats with more than 25%. Rahul mentioned a few with Muslim. All those will have to swing to the Congress. Look, the Congress has to win everything that it possibly can. That's why I say it is advantage BJP. Yogendra ji mentioned Bengal as an example where, you thought again, namumkin hai, left ko harana. It required a wave. You see, it will require a wave not just in rural Gujarat where Yogendra is right. It will require a wave that spreads across the state. I haven't still seen that. I could be wrong, but I don't know.
I have a question. I have to raise this question which you raised about.
But it's going to be tougher. It's tougher than most.
This is part of a desperate measure in desperate times. We have thrown the book at the Election Commission. They have been practitioners of the same statecraft. And today, the Election Commission, which gave them goodie time earlier, and now this is the last gift coming from the Election Commission.
They gave a gift to Ahmed Patel also only a few weeks ago. They gave a gift.
No, but you came out with your vision statement on the 8th.
You see, I would still stick to one thing. The age-old scientific fundamental law, every action has equal and opposite reaction. So, if we are looking at one action of Patidars and everything, whatever we are trying to analyze in Gujarat,
no, but why do we expect?
Okay.
Rajesh, I want to end it with
so charged up. They're not going to stop discussing the Gujarat elections all night. So we will continue that. But I hope to have you back tomorrow at 10 p.m. when we bring you the results of the India Today Access My India exit poll for Gujarat. Hopefully the most definitive, by far the biggest sample size of about 40,000 across the 182 constituencies of Gujarat. So we hope to see you tomorrow night at 10 p.m. with the India Today Access My India exit poll. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us. We're slipping into a break. News and updates on the other side.
Thanks for watching the video. For more such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you would love to.